This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter and welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, July 24th, is a legendary Utah Jazz player. Not that one, but anyway. He's the mailman, one of the greatest power forwards in NBA history, spending 18 years with the Utah Jazz and then going to the Lakers, which kind of seems a bit of fish out of water. But anyway, he's a two-time MVP in the era of Michael Jordan, no less. 14-time All-Star, third most career points behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and LeBron James. But he holds the record for most free throws made and attempted. He played college basketball for Louisiana Tech, which is more known for their women's program than their men's. Well, in the early days, in the female NCAAs. Anyway, in 3 seasons, he got the Bulldogs to the NCAA tournament in '84. He was picked 13th in 1985 and made the playoffs every season in his career. So he's one of the best ever. He is Karl Malone. Karl Malone was born in Summerfield, Louisiana. He was heavily recruited by Arkansas. Would have been nice to see Karl Malone in an Arkansas outfit, but no, he went to Louisiana Tech because it was closer to home. So he helped Louisiana Tech win the Southland Conference in '85 and get to the NCAA tournament. They actually lost in the Sweet 16, which is like, wow. Their first time, and they won 2 games to get to the Sweet 16. Nice. Well, Louisiana Tech was the 5 seed in the Midwest Regional. They beat number 12 Pitt. They beat number 4 Ohio State before number 1 Oklahoma beat them in overtime, no less. But still, Karl Malone was good. And then in the 1985 NBA draft, he was picked 13th overall. Now the question is, did anyone make a mistake for power forwards? The answer is actually not completely. Well, anyway, power forwards drafted before Karl Malone were Wayman Tisdale, who went second to the Pacers. He was kind of a bust, unfortunately. Seattle taking Xavier McDaniel, fourth from Wichita State, as a power forward. That actually worked out. Tisdale from Oklahoma. Charles Oakley was taken as power forward with Cleveland by Cleveland, and immediately traded him to the Knicks, if memory serves me right. Ed Pinckney went 10th to Phoenix. He was from Villanova, who won the NCAA title, and then Karl Malone. So, okay. I can forgive them a bit. Anyway, Karl Malone thought he was going to go to Dallas because, Dallas had a good power forward thing. But they decided to get Dentlove Schrempf. Schrempf didn't really help Dallas out. He was more for the Pacers and Sonics. However, Malone thrived under head coach Frank Layden and took 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting. Karl Malone would help the Utah Jazz beat the Houston Rockets to snap the Rockets' 20-game winning streak at home in January of '86. The Jazz made the postseason but lost to Dallas in the first round. He would be a better player for Utah in his second season. Then he became the All-Star and team offensive leader for the late 80s, early 90s. It was amazing. Karl Malone was the foundation of the Jazz offense, and John Stockton was the floor general. Malone made 14 straight NBA All-Star games starting in 1988. And he actually led the Western Conference in points with 22. But Utah would win 47 games and lose a pathetic Game 7 to the Lakers in the second round. Malone did do well, 31 points, 15 rebounds, but lost. Malone would be given a 10-year contract by the Jazz. And basically, he was helping the Jazz out in every way possible. So Karl Malone did a lot of good work. In '92, he took 2nd in scoring with 28 points per game, as he did in 1990, losing to MJ. The Jazz made the Western Conference Finals for the first time in history in 1992. So, anyway, the Jazz would lose to the Portland Trailblazers in 6 games for the chance to go to the Finals. Malone did well. Karl Malone helped the 92 Dream Team win the Olympic gold medal. It was pretty amazing. Great job. Unfortunately, Malone did have opposition to Magic Johnson being on the team. Malone's point of view diverged from the fact that Johnson was supported by his Olympic and Lakers teammates, and the NBA did have age-related precautions after Johnson's revelation. Karl Malone and John Stockton would win the 93 All-Star Game MVP, co-winners when the West won on home turf in Utah. Karl Malone was a star in 94. He started every game and helped the Jazz get to the Western Conference Finals against the Houston Rockets. Jazz got easily rocked by Houston in 5 games and all that. And Houston went on to win the title. Utah in 95 would win 60 games, and it looked good for them. They won 15 straight road games, which was second at the time in NBA history. Karl Malone got to 20,000 points January 20th, 1995. Ironically, the same day as hockey started back up. Anyway, in the 95 playoffs, the Jazz would lose the first round to the Houston Rockets, as Houston, as a 6 seed, shocked everyone by winning the title. Malone would help the Jazz get to the conference finals against Seattle the next year, but Seattle beat them. Karl Malone looked good. He won the MVP in 97, helping the Jazz win 64 games, the most regular season wins in team history. And the Jazz were number 1 in the Western Conference. They swept the Clippers. They took down the Lakers, which was strange because, they had Shaq and Kobe. And, of course, they took on Houston. It was a tough battle. Utah won in 6 games. The hero was John Stockton's three-pointer. So Malone finally got to the NBA Finals. But Malone would struggle in Chicago in games 1 and 2. But on home turf in games 3 and 4, he did pretty well. Unfortunately, the Bulls would win the next 2 games. The Jazz dominated in 98, but he lost the MVP award to MJ. But the Jazz scored 62 wins, the most in the NBA. They took care of the Rockets, Spurs, and Lakers to get to their second straight finals appearance. However, the Jazz in 98 would do much better. All that. Malone did score 39 points for the Jazz, getting them a big win against the Bulls in Chicago and preventing Michael Jordan from celebrating his last NBA title in Chicago. Unfortunately, though, in Game 6, Malone had a chance to catch a ball, but unfortunately, MJ swatted the ball away from him and made his famous shot. Karl Malone thought he needed to leave Utah because of the ownership group. But he backtracked on it. And glad he did. He won the MVP in 99. For Jazz winning 37 games. They lost in the second round to the Trailblazers, and for the next several years, the Jazz fell out of title contention. So they lost. So Malone tried his best, but the team went into decline. Malone did get to second place on the scoring list in 2003, passing Will Chamberlain and just behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He became a free agent in 2003. And it looked like Karl Malone was going to another team, even though he played 19 years for the Jazz. Like, he was a legend. Stockton and Malone were Utah royalty. Stockton retired. Malone could have done much better. But he decided to go to the LA Lakers to win a championship. And with Gary Payton also joining as an attempt to try to get into the finals. This was one of the first examples of a player championship title chasing. So anyway, they had Malone, Payton, Shaq, and Kobe. The Lakers looked good. Unfortunately, December 21st, Malone would suffer a knee injury and missed some time. the Lakers got the 2 seed in the playoffs. Malone was critical against the Rockets in the first round. And then Malone played a great role on defense against Tim Duncan. Lakers would win the conference finals against Minnesota, and Malone, at 40 years old, was hoping to win a title, but the Pistons scrappily beat the Lakers in the 2004 finals. He became a free agent after a season with the Lakers. But he had personal problems with Kobe Bryant, so he decided not to sign with the team. And the Knicks thought they were going to sign him, too. Rumors were in San Antonio was going to take him. But Malone, on February 13, 2005, decided to retire. The Jazz in 2006 would retire as number 32. All that. Well, Karl Malone could have played for the '84 Olympic team. Remember, the Olympic basketball teams were amateurs back in the day, but in '92 they decided to go to professionals and all that. The Oregon National Guard made Malone an honorary member after the U.S. won the '92 Olympic qualifier tournament. Malone played in the '92 and '96 Olympics and won gold medals both times, so he did pretty good. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2010. So he was the mailman, and he was one of the best power forwards around. So Karl Malone did his job. In the regular season, he played 1,476 games, 25 points per game, 10.1 rebounds. In the playoffs, he had some memorable attempts, 193 games, 24.7 points, 10.7 rebounds per game. No titles. He got to the final in 2004, but that's it. Malone married a Miss Idaho beauty pageant contestant and had 4 children. Karl Jr. was actually invited to the 2018 NFL Combine. And rumors are Malone had been named in paternity suits and all that. Anyway. There were some issues and all that. Anyway, yeah. So, Malone was actually ruled to be the father a couple of times because he did not respond to the suit and all that. But Malone said that he had accepted his paternity of Benito Ford's twins and all that. And the twins actually later played college basketball at Louisiana Tech. And Cheryl Ford would play for Detroit in the WNBA. Anyway. He actually was the father of another son, Demetrius Bell, who actually played in the NFL. And they patched things up. Malone is an avid hunter and fisherman. So he has a Toyota dealership in Ruston, Louisiana. So anyway, Karl Malone was actually on Soul Plane, that comedy film. Anyway, Karl Malone actually was a pro wrestler too. He was in a WCW match at Bash of the Beach, July 1998. Karl Malone would team up with Diamond Dallas Page against Dennis Rodman and Hulk Hogan. Malone would lose the match. But you know what? He gave it the old college try and it worked. So why not? Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do